Welcome to Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans for the fans. And I am your host, Conrad Cushman, and we are here with an Impact Wrestling Homecoming 2019 review. Guys, the show just went off the air, and let me just say, it was a pretty good show. There were parts of it that you're going to wonder, why did this happen the way it did? But there were other parts that were simply amazing. Let's get into this. The event took place in Nashville, Tennessee. And during the event, we had Don Callis and Josh Matthews calling all the action. Um, Overall, this was a homecoming for TNA to come back to Nashville, Tennessee. And I thought it was a wise move for them to actually do that. Like, you really couldn't be too upset with them for going back to where everything had once started for them. And that is something that could always be appreciated. The first match that we kick off the evening with was the Ultimate X match for the for the X Division Championship. And we had four new contenders in there who were trying to take over. We had Rich Swann, Trey Miguel, Ethan Page, and Jake Crist. A lot of people did not know this, and even myself, I forgot about this, that Don Callis is actually the creator of this match, going all the way back to 2003. He initially started this match, and it's been a staple of the X Division ever since then, and it's a great way to get people over and do everything else. So definitely a good one. So with all that being said, we get into like great exchanges in the early on in the match with reversals and super kicks from all four guys. Exactly what you would expect from an X Division crazy type of match. Ethan Page really impressed me in this match. He was the strong guy in it, basically doing like catching everybody, power lifting people up. He was the biggest one. So Ethan Page, someone who I didn't know too much about, really impressed me in this match. I also was really impressed by Trey Miguel from the Rascals. I did not know a lot about him, but I knew in this match that he was something special when I watched his qualifier match for him to get in here. Let's go over some spots that I liked in the match. Ethan Page, like I said, played the strong man. Also, he did a very cool elbow drop from on top of the cables and landed right on top of one of his opponents. Trey Miguel of the Rascals was bumping like crazy all night for everybody, making their moves look good. Same with Jake Crist, too. I don't want him to go unnoticed from OVE. He definitely did a really good job in this match, and I thought he did well. With all that being said, though, I saw a very cool tornado DDT delivered by Jake Crist on the outside on the floor. Excellent. And we also saw Rich Swann follow up with a very cool dive. Lots of high flying, high spots throughout this match, but it was very cool to see Rich Swann pick up the victory, and he is your new X Division champion. And I gave that an overall grade of a B plus. And if anyone is just joining me right now, leave some comments into the chat here, and I'll read them on air if you guys have thoughts on any of the matches. But grade of a B plus for that Ultimate X match. I thought they did very well for what they had, and they got the crowd into the show early on. So I thought it was a great way to start off the show. We get to our second match. We had Allie and Su Yung versus Kiera Hogan and Jordynne Grace. This is a very storyline driven match. Hey, what's going on, Josh Burton from the Everything College Basketball Podcast? How you doing, sir? We had Allie and Su Yung versus Kiera Hogan and Jordynne Grace. This is a storyline driven match surrounded by Allie, and it's basically all about how she became evil and how this all happened. And Kiera Hogan was her friend trying to snap her out of all this. And man, let me just say this. All four of these women are actually really great wrestlers. I enjoy Allie, and I've enjoyed her character progression throughout this storyline from what I've been watching from Impact on YouTube and everything else. So I like to see her character moving forward. Su Yung is a mysterious character who you never know what she's quite thinking. She's the killer bridesmaid. Um, Su Young's interesting. I don't know too much about her. I mean, I know some of her personal stuff and some of her other work, but Su Young's an interesting character with this, so she doesn't speak too much. Kiera Hogan is someone who I've been following for quite some time. I think he came from the recommendation of the Schleg Daddy, who said that it was really good. Hey, what's going on, Jayhawks Reaction? Dope EPW shirt. I know. Hopefully, I get to have it. Hey, Sean Bates. Shout out to Sean Bates from Scumbags Podcast. Excellent guy. As we get back into this, Jordynne Grace, she had an amazing spot in this match where she had someone kind of held up in the power slam position and also power bomb someone at the same time. The girl is strong, thick mama pump, excellent work in this match. Did your spots. I love it. So in the end, though, Allie wins when she is given a bloody glove, which I know this will bring up the whole tampon shenanigans and everything else. I'm not getting into any of that. It's not my cup of tea in wrestling, but I see both sides of it. So I saw people using that as a complaint, like, uh-oh, I hope the internet's going to get mad. But she gets a bloody glove from Su Yung. Allie puts on the mandible claw on Kiera Hogan, and the referee calls off the match. She's incapacitated, can't do anything. And Allie and Su Yung pick up the victory here. So excellent that they added this match last minute, so I didn't get to have this in my preview, so I didn't have anyone who I predicted to win this one. But afterwards, a casket comes out, and they have all the undead bridesmaids come out, and they open up the casket to show who making their return. But Rosemary makes her return to Impact Wrestling, and she came out there, and it looks like we're going to see a big feud between Su Yung and Rosemary coming up next. Overall grade for this match is a C+. Hey, shout out to the Buffalo Brothers as well. Yes, I will mention that at the end of the podcast, Sean. You guys stick around for that. Once we get into the next match here, we had Moose versus Eddie Edwards in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Now, this goes back for a while to this storyline with Eddie Edwards becoming like the Tommy Dreamer of Impact Wrestling. He has started to show that he's kind of more of a hardcore wrestler, developing a brawler style. And I think that's better for him in the long term. And Moose has been going through this progression, but he's also had this character where his ego's gotten out of control. And Moose is getting better each and every match, I think. And this match, exact same thing here. Eddie Edwards attacks Moose during his entrance, which is something you're supposed to do when it's a blood feud. So anyone who ever books a wrestling show, keep that stuff in mind. The fans appreciate that. Moose gave Eddie Edwards a vicious powerbomb on the apron to start off the match. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was just like, ooh, that looks very painful. And Jayhawk's reaction says he thought it was a solid show. Excellent. Yes, and so Moose gave Eddie Edwards that vicious power bomb on the apron, and then Moose also set up. He took a guardrail and put it. How do I want to describe this? He kind of put it in between the apron and the ring, the like other guardrail here. So we kind of had a little ramp. You know how they set up everything with that in wrestling. So that's sitting there, so you know it's going to be used eventually. And Eddie Edwards is eventually bleeding from his forehead. He threw a chair at Moose's head. I don't know if it's just me, guys, when I'm watching these shows, but I always cringe at these headshots with the steel chairs and everything else. And I'm going to bring it up again later on in this review, but not a big fan of seeing guys take unprotected chair shots. Like, please, at least put your hands up if you're going to do some stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. So we get back and forth chops exchange between the two of these guys. Moose is eventually given a back body drop to the outside onto that guardrail, and it breaks in half perfectly. The spot was amazing. The fans are going nuts for this, and I love the crowd tonight. They were very much so into the show, and that's something greatly appreciated from when I'm watching from home, because if you guys are into the show, it makes me more into it too. And so Eddie Edwards eventually gets out a kendo stick, and he starts beating on Moose with it, and his wife Alicia runs down to the ringside area. I got worried that we were going to see a heel turn, which looks so obvious. Alicia comes out, she says, stop it, like she's been doing for the past few months. But then she says, she snatches the cane, and then she says, I'm going to do it. And she starts beating on Moose with the kendo stick. The fans pop, and she gets a she's hardcore. So I instantly had to laugh on this. So we're watching that happen, and then a DDT occurs. 1, 2, 3. Eddie Edwards gets the victory for this match, and 1, 2, 3. It's over. The feud is over, I hope. And I have to give this an overall grade of a B. I enjoy Eddie Edwards in these hardcore matches, and I think he's been one of the one of the reasons to watch Impact Wrestling last year. So hopefully they continue moving forward with him in this direction that he's been in. Now, we get to the fourth match, and I really enjoyed this stuff too because I'm a huge Lucha Underground fan. And I'm going to take a second to plug Lucha Underground here before I get into the fourth match review. And when you watch Lucha Underground, it's like a movie that you're watching play out with wrestling involved. And I love that. I know that sometimes they get very sci-fi and a lot of the stuff gets super fake, but it's different than what we see from other companies. And I like that. And I like the relationship that they have with Impact Wrestling currently. We have Sami Callihan, who has been doing amazing things, versus Willie Mack here. Sami Callihan was voted Impact Wrestling's Wrestler of the Year, and I like that they're using that as a way to propel him up in storylines. And I think Sami Callihan needs that for sure. Hold on here. We're getting some comments from Josh Burton. Surprised they allowed headshots considering the CTE stuff over the last half decade. I agree with that, Josh. Like anything involving sports. I mean, you're a big basketball guy, and you know that, I don't know, that's something that's taken very serious, and I can't believe that some of these guys don't want to protect themselves from doing that. And Sean Bates, the crowd was loud and the camera work was questionable. Yeah, there were some points, Sean, throughout this with the camera work that hurt it a little bit, but once again, Impact's trying to get new, so we'll see. I want to talk at the end too about a lot of stuff, and hopefully you guys can give me some feedback. But where were we here? So I'm impressed by both wrestlers throughout this match. I enjoy their Lucha Underground work. I love Willie Mack on Lucha Underground and Sami Callihan. We get some good near falls in the match after Mack hits a stunner. He is known for hitting that Stone Cold Stunner, and I like it. He puts some stank on it when he does it. So shout out to Willie Mack. We have Sami Callihan. He hits a Death Valley driver from off the top rope, and Willie Mack kicked out at one. And the crowd is going nuts for that. They love it. He hits a clothesline then right after, like a big lariat on Willie Mack, and he kicked out at one again. The fans are getting hyped up for that as well. After a nice back and forth exchange, a pile driver was hit on Willie Mack, and that's it. 1, 2, 3. Willie Mack lights out. Grade B minus. Sami Callihan looks into the camera and says, "You don't mess with OVE." So I think this storyline is going to continue with Willie Mack and Rich Swann versus OVE. We get to our next match, but before we get into that, there was a promo cut by Eli Drake, and he cuts kind of a Bird Box promo on Abyss and the wrestling fans, and he has a blindfold on talking about a bunch of different things and how he's going to save professional wrestling. And I thought that this was very cool and very innovative for what's going on with the times. Hopefully this isn't something that's lost in translation if people ever go back to watch this. And we have another comment here from Jayhawks Reactions. The tag title match was enjoyable. One of my favorite matches on the card. Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. I promise you. Match number 5. We have a Monsters Ball match. We have Eli Drake versus Abyss. Now, when this match happens, the brawl starts off. We can see Abyss put a staple in Eli Drake's chest. Sometimes I just cringe at these spots. Like when you see this type of stuff, this is what makes you not want to be a wrestler. I'm like, can I take this or handle this? But he puts a staple in his chest. Garbage can headshots once again. I was shaking my head watching this. Like no protection on some of the garbage can headshots, even to Abyss. Eli Drake goes overhead through 2 tables. If you guys give me a follow on Twitter at EPW Show, I retweeted this. Abyss was basically caught in between, you know, you're under the top rope and he's kind of hanging over there. Eli Drake runs at him and he kind of just flips him over. Eli Drake cleared the first table and goes through it. Amazing spot. Eli Drake's athleticism is flipping crazy. Like, oh, dude, absolutely loved this match. Now, here's well, not all parts of it. Like the headshots, I hated, but I loved how they told the story in this match, for me at least. Abyss gets hit by some moves here, but then he eventually gets up to make a comeback and goes to get a bag of thumbtacks. And he sets them all up. He's laying them down. And real quick question, guys. Would you rather get slammed on thumbtacks or Legos? I saw this on Twitter, and a weird question. I'm still taking the Legos over the thumbtacks, but I know both will hurt. So he sets up the thumbtacks, like I was saying. A failed setup. And Eli inadvertently gets down on the ground. he picks up some thumbtacks in his hands and he tries to throw them at Abyss, who ducks, and it hits the referee in the face. Good way to get the ref out of the match. It's a monsters ball match, though, so the ref really can't do anything anyway, but it's a way to keep the ref from making whatever call he needs to make. Afterwards, Abyss goes outside and the fans are chanting for Janice, Janice. And if you don't know, Janice is a 2x4 with a bunch of nails stuck inside. And he goes outside to get it. And Drake ends up getting Janice, and he tries to swing it at Abyss, but he misses. And Abyss grabs Eli Drake, chokeslam right onto the thumbtacks, and he had like a Randy Orton spot. Now, guys, I don't know if kids are listening to this or watching it, but keep this in mind. And this is a family-friendly show, but you could clearly hear Eli Drake yell OMFG into the camera after he got slammed into the tacks. So I know that hurts, man. When he yelled that, like, it's clear as day. And that was my favorite spot in the match, to be honest. I was like, that shows realism, and it made me buy into this a little bit more. Afterwards, Eli Drake kicks out. This is his tough guy match, similar to what Randy Orton had with Cactus Jack at Backlash, Triple H and Cactus Jack at the Royal Rumble 2000. Abyss is kind of like the Mick Foley of TNA, to where he's putting guys over and he gives them their tough guy badge to say, okay, this guy's tough. He can be back in the main event picture and you could take him seriously. After he kicks out, though, he goes to get zip ties to try to zip tie Abyss' wrist. The zip ties were a little bit too small. I noticed that as soon as he took them out, and I was just like, I don't think this is going to work. And they were going for a Rock Mankind Royal Rumble 99 feel, but it just didn't work out. It failed, but the finish ends with Eli Drake grabbing a paddle board for like a rowboat, and he breaks it over Abyss's head, and 1, 2, 3, Eli Drake is your winner. And I give that a grade of a B-. I really enjoyed that hardcore match. I thought it was fun. And let's see here. We have some more comments. The thumbtack spot just made my whole body cringe. Connor, I agree, brother. B-Boy Skyline, what's going on, Jordynne? Legos are deadly, man. Dude, have you ever stepped on one? Oh, man, I'll smack somebody if they're in the vicinity when it happens. Original Biggie says tacks are what hurts. Biggie, what's going on, my friend? Check out his content if you like the wrestling video game genre. I take the tacks if I had to, but I need to not know when it's coming so I wouldn't freeze up. Oh, yeah, 100% Josh Burton. We get a Killer Cross promo warning Johnny Impact about later tonight and what's going to happen, and Johnny Impact needs to be worried about Killer Cross. So they set up everything going on with that, so it makes you wonder what's going to happen. We get to and I think Connor said the same thing, Jayhawk's reactions, my match of the night, guys. We had the Impact Wrestling tag titles on the line. We had LAX versus the Lucha Bros. Dude, this match is amazing. This is the best match on the card. I'm telling you guys, anybody who watches this will have to agree with this. Easily the best match on the card. And LAX are the longest reigning tag champs in Impact Wrestling currently. I did not know that, so very cool for Don Callis to let us know. I'm sorry, that was according to Josh Matthews, excuse me. And we had lots of good high-flying and double team moves to start the match by both teams. They're going back and forth, and I love the teamwork between both of them. Now, we had a series of moves that led to a reverse power bomb into a splash off the top rope, and it was all on top of Fenix. So Fenix is the one down, and Pentagon Jr. comes in to make a save. So there's a pinfall. The guy's on top for the cover. 1, 2. Pentagon steps on the guy, but when the partner comes in like he was trying to make the save, he's just getting up, and Pentagon jumps off the partner's back into a freaking destroyer, a Canadian destroyer. Holy shit. It has to be said. Like, the crowd went nuts for that spot, and spot of the night, dude. Very well done. I love Pentagon and Fenix. Once again, these are guys from Lucha Underground. That's where I knew them from. And LAX really has impressed me. They were guys who I would definitely say I slept on, and I've noticed them getting better and better since 2018 until this point today. LAX, Ortiz, and Santana, you guys are good, man. I'm telling you, you guys have a future together. Stay as a tag team. But we get back to the match. So he jumped off Ortiz's back, gave Santana the destroyer. The chemistry between both teams is really good. They battle for near falls broken up from package pile driver stomp. Now, LAX had one, or LAX took some moves too, to where there was a package pile driver. You see the stomp. Eventually, they shove the partner in to make the save, similar to what you see Undisputed Era do on NXT. Dude, oh, so good. So afterwards, LAX hits the street sweeper. Fenix then makes a springboard like kick to make the save. So many good saves in this match. And LAX hits several moves. So the match ends afterwards. They take out Pentagon, who's sitting on the outside, and you see a code breaker into a super kick, into a double team like reverse angle slam, and 1, 2, 3. After they pinned Fenix, LAX retain their tag team championships in a match that I would say was amazing, and I give it a grade of an A-. Now, before we move forward with this, what do you guys think about Lucha Bros possibly going to AEW, or are they going to stay with Impact Wrestling? There's a lot of rumors that they were offered contracts to go over there, and them not winning here because they were my pick to win made me lead to a lot of this type of speculation. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but sound off in the comment section and I'll come back to it if you guys have any thoughts on that. Let me grab a drink here before we move on to our last two matches. But we get to our Knockouts champion. We had a special guest referee, Gail Kim, for this match. Connor is saying that he thinks that the Lucha Bros are going to AEW because, Connor, I felt like there was no reason for them not to win here. I thought that they were going to. Both and Kushida are going to AEW. Isn't it crazy now, guys, that anytime someone loses a match, like, oh, yeah, they're going to AEW, bro. I know it for sure. Bring back the yellow cup of doom. Thank you, Robert Anderson, who is 89 ESR in the chat. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in and watching. But at least a speculation. Anytime someone loses now, they're probably going to AEW. So I don't know. Maybe I'll make that a meme or something. You lost the match, you're going to AEW. But A- for that match. We get back to the knockouts match here. So special guest ref Gail Kim. We got Tessa Blanchard versus Taya Valkyrie. Two women you don't want to sleep on. I put that in there. I know that we just had a really good match, and sometimes people are like, oh, it's going to quiet down and, you know, the crowd's not going to be into it as much. They did all right with this one. This feud's been going back to Bound for Glory 2018, so that's all the way back in October. And they've had this build going for quite some time, and I've been interested in this one. So early in the match, Taya takes a hell of a beating from Tessa Blanchard, and Tessa Blanchard did a real good job getting her heat in this match. A lot of the people were giving her some boos, but the crowd turned on Taya too very often in this, and I'm not sure why. Maybe that's something that one of you guys would know or can explain. But Taya Valkyrie was getting some mixture of boos in this. So Taya then gets the advantage, and they have a back and forth, and it happens until Gail Kim gets a forearm to the jaw by accident from Tessa in the ring. Gail Kim's down, and I didn't understand why she was down for so long. She's a wrestler, and she's holding her jaw. And even at the end, I'm going back to the tag title match for a second here because I'm going to make a point about Gail Kim with this. You saw that Pentagon was not able to run in to make the save, and maybe that was supposed to be he's tired, but I thought the camera work was really bad to show Pentagon standing on the outside, not running in to make the save. And same thing here. So they have Gail Kim holding her face, like her jaw, after she got hit. You are a pro wrestler. Like, what do you mean? You just took a forearm shot to the face. Like, get up. But Gail Kim takes a little bit of a long bump, enough time for Tessa to go to the outside, grab her Knockouts championship. She's sitting there ready to use it. Gail Kim gets up and stops her. They have so much shenanigans with this. Gail Kim ends up hitting Taya in the face by accident with the belt. Tessa tells her to count. Gail Kim's not even looking at the shoulders. And it's the 1, the 2, Taya kicks out. So the people are wondering what's going to happen with this. Tessa keeps trying to instigate a fight with Gail Kim, and Gail Kim eventually gives her the eat defeat. And afterwards, she goes right into the road to Valhalla. And 1, 2, 3, Taya Valkyrie is your new Impact Knockout champion. Grade B- for this. I thought it was well done. I wish that they didn't have so much shenanigans and Taya could have won it clean. I think that's part of the reason why she got that negative reaction, but I'm not sure. Sean Bates says Taya is booed because Tessa is the best thing in the ring, is the best in the ring, heel or face. Ooh, that's tough, Sean. I love Taya though. I really dig her work, especially in Lucha Underground. I just don't know why in Impact it seems like she's hated. Taya versus, or I'm sorry, Tessa versus Charlotte is a match made in heaven. Oh, Robert, I definitely agree with that. That's a match that we could see eventually happening, and you got to have their dads involved in it too. That would be like a 4 horsemen show up to spectate that match. Josh Burton, yes, Tessa versus Charlotte is money. Taya should have won clean, but I'm pleased. See, Robert, I agree. We're on the same page on that one. B- for that match, guys. Now we get a pursuit promo by Impact where Josh Matthews and Don Callis are outside talking about this, and you can now watch Impact Wrestling on the Pursuit channel. And I've retweeted things and put things out there. I think there's an app you can download to watch this if you guys are interested in watching Impact Wrestling on Friday nights. I know Friday's not the greatest day for people, especially in my age demographic, to try to watch and do things, especially wrestling wise. But let me say this. They are now going to be on twitch.tv, which was brought up by B-Boy Skyline, aka Jordynne. And me and Jordynne had a little back and forth on our Everything Pro Wrestling Facebook group page. And we were talking about that. And is it a smart move for them? I think for Impact Wrestling, this is a great move. And it is something that it has been long overdue. And I think that with them moving to this new network, being on twitch.tv is a great way to tap into the young people, especially those who love video games and updated technology, to interact with them and get their hands on them and get donations for Impact Wrestling and get eyes on the product. Also, they said they want 15,000 subs by March 1st. So if you guys are interested in Impact Wrestling, like I said, I know I wrote them off before, but I definitely think they're worth a shot. Go on twitch.tv and find Impact Wrestling and give them a subscribe. All right, we get to the main event, guys. Oh, boy. The main event is for the Impact Wrestling World Championship. We have Johnny Impact, a.k.a. John Morrison, BK, Johnny Mundo, Johnny insert gimmick name here. I'm a big fan of his versus Brian Cage, another guy who I love, the Machine Brian Cage. Brian Cage comes out. He has a Terminator entrance, which I thought was cool that they tried to make this, give it like the big feel. And Brian Cage does it. So Johnny Impact has come a long way since Tough Enough was one of the notes I had in the beginning here. Really happy to see the guy get the success that he did. He was actually the person I wanted to see win that Tough Enough season, back when he was like Johnny Nitro or whatever. So good to see him get that. The match starts with a lot of cat and mouse psychology in this one, to where Cage is chasing Johnny Impact around the ring, and Johnny uses his parkour style to avoid and get out of things, and Cage eventually catches him and uses a power move on him. Original Biggie here. I'm sorry. Cool. It's a good move for them. YouTube would also be a good alternate. Original Biggie, I agree. 89 ESR Robert says, get him. Josh Burton has retracted his message. Impact Wrestling and Smash Wrestling are doing a joint show on Twitch from my hometown of London, Ontario, February 2nd. So you heard it first here from Sean Bates. Make sure you check out Scumbags of Wrestling podcast. Back to this match, though. So lots of cat and mouse throughout the beginning of the match. It's a very hard-hitting back and forth match with enough high flying and enough power moves, showing that both guys have all-around game in this, showing that they should be in the heavyweight main event picture. So weird. So the crowd flipping on chants for both guys. 1 minute it was for Johnny Impact, then it was for Brian Cage. They're doing the Terminator claps for Brian Cage. You get everything else. We had a very close near fall and a Starship Pain. Cage kicked out at 2. Cage got some offense, hit a spinning power bomb, and 1, 2, a kick out by Johnny Impact. Lots of near falls in this one. Brian Cage gets Weapon X, and there were so many sloppy spots in this match. So it kind of starts from here, and then even in the beginning, though, they were off tonight with their chemistry. Johnny Impact put his foot on the ropes for the spot after getting hit with the Weapon X. So it's like 1, 2, and basically like his foot skims the rope, and then the ref looked back at it, and then he put his foot on the rope, and then the ref, everyone in the crowd kind of like booed a little bit. They weren't feeling that, and it was kind of garbage. And Don Callis covered up, trying to say the referee waited for it. So Cool. I like it. After that, we get into a spot on the outside where Brian Cage is interacting with these dudes from Survivor. I don't even know who the hell they are. Impact didn't show a name graphic or anything else. So I'm like, who are these dudes? And they're like, oh, those are Johnny Impact's friends from Survivor. So I guess it was explained, but they showed them on camera a couple times. Say who these guys are. And the referee eventually goes out there after Brian Cage shoves one of them, and the refs argue with one of them. They look like they're trying to get in the ring. The ref's trying to keep control. And once again, Cage hits him with like I think it was called the drill claw. The referee's missing the pin. The fans are like, oh, 1, 2, and no one's in the ring. Afterwards, the ref gets in. Johnny Impact kicks out. And eventually we get to this sloppy finish. So he's on the outside, and they're trying to suplex Johnny Impact into the ring. Kind of he stands on the middle rope, suplexes him into the ring, and I'm not sure exactly what move he was trying to go for, but it looked like it kept getting messed up. And eventually Johnny Impact like reverses it. Cage falls back, and it looks like it was supposed to be a roll-up or a power bomb. Don't know. And he falls back, and Impact kind of rolls into a power bomb, and it's like 1, 2, and he kind of kicks out, but he doesn't. The ref counts 3, and it's over. The Impact fans look like, what the hell was that? And they had a really kind of crappy ending. So they're out there. The referee's looking like, oh, I just screwed up, or they screwed up. I don't know. The chemistry was off between the ref, these two. So hopefully they do a rematch. Cage snatches the belt away from the referee before he can hand it to Johnny Impact, throws the belt to him, basically saying, like, I think we're going to meet again. So hopefully they get a chance to redo that match and give the crowd exactly what they want. And hopefully it'll be on like their new network, and they can show everybody this is what Impact Wrestling is all about. Anywho, after that, we get a celebration with Johnny Impact and Taya. The fans begin to boo and kind of turn on them a little bit. I was surprised by that. Very, very hurt to see that. Now, the fans booed them. I get it, but they just had a crappy match too. So the fans boo, whatever. They go up the ramp and they're doing kind of their celebration, and Killer Kross comes out. He promised Johnny Impact, like I said, that something was going to happen. I thought Austin Aries was going to come back. We didn't get that. Killer Kross comes out, and Taya is ready to fight him. Taya, she doesn't back down from anybody, and she gets shoved, and then Taya looks at him like, did you just push me down? And then she jumps on him to try to fight him. He picks her up in a powerbomb position and throws her off the stage into the lower level, right into that first row there, and Taya eats a powerbomb. Killer Kross is looking crazy afterwards. He has taken out Johnny Impact. I keep wanting to call him Johnny Impact and Taya, and that's it. Overall, I gave that match a C. Could have been way better. They had some great spots in it too, but at the same time, could have been way, way better. And the finish was horrible. It was almost up there to where I wanted to say it was like D level. So we get to that. Everything ends in kind of a Killer Kross is standing on top, the attack. So is Johnny Impact fighting Killer Kross next or Brian Cage? We don't know. It'll make things very interesting. Overall, great for this show, guys. I thought it was a B- show. Something very good. And I do plan on doing a video to explain everything to you guys about the grading system. Basically, a quick breakdown of it is this, guys. If you see somebody got an A, that means it's amazing. You need to check this out. Real must-see match, great. Amazing to great. B is solid to really good, basically in all 3 levels of that. C is average to me, like above average, average, a little below average. And then D is bad, like what was this crap? And F is Charmel and Jenna Maraska, like that match. Like, dude, don't ever put this on a show again. Other than that, guys, I appreciate everyone who came in here to check this out. Let's get to the comment section one last time here before we get out of here. Impact Wrestling and Smash, we read that. I want Impact to be great. I hear you, Robert. I agree with that. If they want 15K subs from Josh Burton, he says Callis needs to call his boy Jericho and have him do a show. You've seen what he did last year for New Japan World. I agree, Josh. I don't know if something's stopping Jericho from wanting to do that or if it's a compensation issue. Let's see here. Robert, I agree, Josh, but Jericho is on record saying he would never work a show for another American company out of respect for Vince, but we'll see. Things change, and he did the spot for All In. Good point, Josh. Good counterpoint here, especially if he's involved with AEW. AEW is the talk of the town right now, guys. For the channel, though, guys, make sure you check it out. We are going to have a Monday Night Raw review tomorrow to see if Monday Night Raw has changed. Hey, Sean Bates, before you get out of here, I got one more message for you. Make sure you tune into the channel tomorrow. I'm going to have some live Monday Night Raw coverage after the show is over, similar to this once again. I'm going to review the show. Hopefully, Monday Night Raw has made the changes that they need to. That's something that we can all enjoy. Next, guys, in the description box down below, there is a link for a GoFundMe page for the Buffalo Brothers. It explains everything. There was a car accident that happened to a lot of indie wrestlers here. I'm good friends with someone who knows all of them, and these guys all seem like good guys from when I've met them. They really need help. Some of them are in the hospital injured with broken bones, injuries. So if you can donate, great. If you can't, I appreciate you guys just listening to me talk about it. It's in the description box. And Sean Bates from Scumbags of Wrestling, I appreciate it. He actually made it known to everybody that I donated. I was going to keep that quiet, but Sean brought it up, so not a big deal. I appreciate that. Make sure you check out his podcast. Check out Everything College Basketball. Check out Original Biggie's content. I appreciate each and every one of you guys who came in here. Shout out to Connor with the Pro Wrestling Podcast on Anchor as well. Guys, thank you for checking this out. Impact Wrestling, keep up the good work going into 2019. I hope that you are not affected by this talent raid with AEW. I know that's going to be a tough thing for Impact Wrestling to combat, and that's going to be kind of a story for them. How can they hold up or compete, or can they work together with these guys? So Impact, keep making the right moves, and we'll see that. Sean Bates wrote that there was a broken leg and ankle for Garcia and 2 broken ankles for Blackwood. Man. All right. And Robert says he's hopping on that. Robert, feel free, man. If you want to come by, I'll have you on the podcast to talk some Monday Night Raw. If anyone else would like to, shoot me a message and I'll put you guys on there. Sean Bates, not a problem, good sir. Guys, do me a favor. Thank you for sharing the show. If you guys have not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 250 subscribers. I'm actually 10 away from it already. So the more that we can get leading up to our big WrestleMania time period, because everybody's looking up wrestling videos at the time, we will see what happens. Check out the Everything Pro Wrestling Facebook group. I just shared a story in there, actually, that Kenny Omega has quit New Japan Pro Wrestling. Haven't read everything yet into it, so this is all speculation at this point. But check it out. Everything Pro Wrestling, guys. I appreciate you. I love you. We're out. Peace.